everybody, it's Sophie and Marco. Ditch out on the movies. I guess we're doing a lot more TV shows lately because there's quite a few to watch. But anyway, Marco is still encumbered by his laryngitis, and he he finished watching Wednesday season 2, part 1. So I am going to read what he wrote of his review of Wednesday, season 2, part 1, etc. Before I get into the many overly complicated plots of Wednesday season 2, episode 4, quote, "If these woes could talk," end quote. I want to summarize my opinions and give it a grade. Overall, it was exactly like the last 3 episodes. There were no surprises because I predicted almost every single thing. This episode was so predictable that I was able to predict the final twist 20 minutes into the hour-long episode. This episode demonstrated that the writers are one-trick ponies. At the end of season 1, I already had a weird feeling about the whole stalker story and how maybe it wasn't well thought out or interesting enough to last a whole season. Unfortunately, I was right. And here I go with the throat. I brought tea with me this time. Sure, this episode is obviously the best one so far. It had a lot of action, some characters died, and Uncle Fester came on and stole the show. Other than that, I'm continuously disliking this show more and more. Grade C. Unlike Dexter, I'm not going to give this episode any leniency because it's not that entertaining. First off, there are way too many characters and too many stories going on. That's bad. Talking about each episode is like trying to name every city on Earth in alphabetical order. Secondly, the show is extremely rushed. Yes, each episode is an hour long and there are 8 total episodes. But there is so much stuff crammed into each episode that there should definitely be double the episodes in turn. Thirdly, the writers have a knack for just randomly picking up storylines and abandoning them when it's convenient. For instance, in season 1, Wednesday writing her first book was a major part of the show. It was a consistent thread, and it also helped explain her inner emotions and predicaments through her characters without her having to say them explicitly. In season 2, they'll just mention once in a while something about her book or incorporate it into the story briefly, and then they drop it. That's what you call ADD TikTok storytelling. Let's try to go through some of the main stories in this episode without having a nervous breakdown. The siren, Bianca, has a development with her mother in the motel. She gets discovered by a cop and taken to the police station. Bianca is forced to stay at school doing chores for the stupid fundraising gala while her mom sits in the station. Ajax helps Bianca escape to help her mom by turning the professor to stone. This was stupid, because when the professor turned back to human form, he never alerted the principal of what happened. As far as I know, getting turned to stone doesn't erase your memory. So anyway, Bianca hypnotizes the cops and helps her mom escape. That's literally it. You can tell this season wasn't written and designed to be split up into 2 parts because that story is clearly still developing in the background. Let's take a brief moment to talk about the epic failures that are the Nightshades, a super exclusive and legendary secret society which apparently really did disband after the principal told them to do it. That's not just lame, that's stupid. These characters bend and break the rules all the time to their heart's content. You're going to tell me they didn't reform the Nightshades in secret? It's a secret society. Morticia destroys Wednesday's book. Probably because if Wednesday used her psychic abilities, she'd have solved the mystery of the season already. We also learn a little bit more about Ophelia. Apparently she died or went missing or something. We finally get to see Wednesday's grandma. She buys her a cemetery so she could get started in the family business and also learn more information to solve the mystery. Okay, drinking some tea. Wednesday's big plan of the episode, or in the episode, is having Uncle Fester get committed at the Willow Hills Asylum and discover who Lois really is. This is basically 99% of why this episode is good. Other than that, this episode's trash. Fester's story is fun. He is also straight out of season 1 and still very funny. There are several plot holes in his story that you have to suspend disbelief over. For instance, a guard allows him to go inside of a cage with another patient and talk to him unsupervised. Even though the other patient is an old man in a wheelchair, he should not be allowed to be alone with anyone. Fester eventually gets locked up with Slurp the zombie. That's the other strange element of this episode. They are, for some reason, keeping a literal zombie chained up in the asylum. Wouldn't they just kill it? Why wasn't there any investigation into who that zombie was, where he came from, Pugsley's contribution, etc.? Such lazy writing. I know why they're keeping the zombie, because he had to go on a murder spree at the end when the asylum escape took place. He was kept there as a walking plot device. Predictably, the zombie becomes instrumental in the asylum escape. It ends up killing multiple main characters, and it finally gained his voice back a little bit. Early on in the episode, there's also a bird attack where Thing almost gets killed. The hooded bad guy controls the birds while watching from a window. Wednesday chases the hooded bad guy down and ends up coming face to face with Thandie Newton. She's obviously not the bad guy. So then the red-headed, red-herring music teacher walks in. She's out of breath, which she writes off as being exhausted. She's obviously not the bad guy either. So who are you left with? That's who the villain is. Reveal later. But that's when I figured out who the villain was, which was very disappointing. Enid's character has really taken a nosedive too. She literally contributes nothing to the plot, and her romance story is irritating and useless. The final act of this episode involves Wednesday breaking Uncle Fester out of the asylum after he's discovered. Needless to say, things go wrong. The zombie kills Thandie Newton, the old man. Wednesday discovers Lois is actually a program where weirdos are experimented on so normies can have weirdos' powers. The hooded villain turns out to be the one other normie character the show had left. So if you have at least half a brain, you can do process of elimination and figure out it's her. I let out the biggest sigh of all time when I found out it's her. Why? She's a trash joke character. It also shows the writers are one-trick ponies because they made sure the one normie character had to be the bad guy, just like Tyler in season 1. Speaking of Tyler, Christina Ricci, I don't know how to pronounce her name properly, sorry, helps him escape only to be killed by him seconds later. It's funny because Christina R. was already dead to me for supporting the false accuser Blake Lively. Whatever. I don't know anything about that. So Tyler then goes after Wednesday. They do the cliche, well, you go and escape while I stand here and face the monster thing. Wednesday gets thrown out the window. Bringing back Tyler as the main villain is yet another sign these writers suck. It's like admitting they have no fresh and cool ideas, so they gotta bring back the Hyde for fan service. Overall, I'm not looking forward to part 2. They revealed in the trailer that they're bringing the dead principal back too, as a spirit guide. Such unnecessary fan service. Too much stuff going on. Too many characters. If you can believe it, there's lots of things I didn't even mention that happened in this episode. And I have to tell you, on a personal level, when I was taking some writing courses and doing a lot of reading about writing, the authors said that having too many characters can wreck the story because you just have it strung out all over the place, which sounds like that's what's happening in this show. And so you have a few, and it's a lot better. It's more concise and tells a better story. So, unlike Wednesday, the Sophie and Marco Dish Out on Movies Patreon page does not have too much stuff going on. We highly recommend you go check out the page and sign up right now. The link is in the description. No matter which tier you join, your name will be in the credits of a future film project. We will be posting reviews, commentaries, and behind-the-scenes videos on Patreon, and doing fan-requested videos. We hope to see you there. And that's it. And please leave a comment. And Marco's waving his hand about like a creep. And if you like this video, I'm not signing off yet, Marco. He has something else I have to add, and he's typing it in so I can read it. My voice is about strained to the max. I'm trying not to cough because that failed. Guess I better have a cup of tea so I can keep going for this one last thing if he's tapping away on my phone. Ugh. Oh, this is an addition. Beetlejuice 2 had the same problems. Too many plots. Wednesday season 2 repeated the same issues by having too many stories. Now you give your thoughts in the episode, Sophie. Okay, Marco. Well, I haven't watched any Wednesday shows at all, but I've read the review, and like I said, of all the writing classes I took, I went to writers' conferences, I took courses at school. They said you don't have too many characters and you don't want to have too many storylines. And we've seen this in other movies and or shows where they'll bring out a storyline and they start it, they might bring it into the next episode, but then they just kind of drop it. It kind of fades off into the other zone or something. into Neverland, into some land that you don't see. And then you wonder what happens. And then there's the other thing where they don't say enough about what's going on because they're so strung out on too many plots. So you have to come up with your own ideas about what's happening, what's going to happen, why it happened, etc. So basically, you're turning into one of the writers and not getting any credit for it. And it's stupid because that shouldn't happen. And I can't really fault them for making it so obvious that you know who the villain is, because if you're an avid reader or an avid, like Marco's a very big fan of this show, and he's watched a lot of shows and a lot of movies, then he might have more of a knack of coming up with the inline or the villain or the hero or whatever that maybe others do. Because it's just like for me, when I read books, I might come up with the same issue. I can figure out pretty quickly who the bad guy was or what happened. So now I'm getting bad. So he's got one more thing. He goes, this show, the Wednesday show now, we're back to that, might be worse than Goosebumps Season 2 because at least Goosebumps improved slightly from the first season, which it did. And guess what? They canceled it. So, Wednesday, I don't know how much they have invested in it. But
they already renewed it for Season 3.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you heard that, but they've already renewed Wednesday for Season 3. So, I mean, if they had all the people that they have in the family are interested in coming back and they don't have any problems with it, I can understand that. And because everybody likes the girl who plays Wednesday, and you said Uncle Fester is really good. I don't know who plays the other characters.
Fred Armisen.
He plays Uncle Fester? Oh, I know that is. He's from Saturday Night Live, and he's really good at playing characters. So, that's interesting. Does he have a bald head? Okay, I'll have to look at that because I can't even imagine Fred Armisen doing that. But anyway, so it's been renewed. But you never know after the next season. If they continue on with crap, then they'll cancel the show. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's life. Especially nowadays, they don't seem to. It's very rare. I mean, I think I can name the shows that have been on for years. There's a few reality shows, but like NCIS, I think they've completely changed that. I haven't watched it in a few years, so I don't know. I hear little bits and pieces, but The Simpsons have been on a long time. And of course, South Park has come back this season, is very popular. So, but really, for this kind of show, meaning a series show that's, live characters, they don't last. They don't go on very long. So, just ask the people in Breaking Bad and also Better Call Saul. So that's it. I think Marco's done giving me things because I'm really just hanging in here before I have a huge coughing attack. So, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.